I'm Dorothy here, and I'm 30 years old, and I used to come from Tavuni and represent the Tavuni empowerment there, but I just moved to Navua, so I'm new there.
Do you want to be a decision maker, and at what level or where?
Yes, personal level, like family, at home, in the community, just to my standard. Yeah?
Okay. How was your voting experience in 2014?
It was good, easy, fast.
Okay. And in the next elections, what would you want your experience to be like?
Maybe something new, maybe a different way of voting.
Different process?
Yeah, different process. Like the one we had in 2014 was different from the one we had the last time.
Okay, so you want something completely different to the one at 2014? Do you want to state why you want something different?
Maybe something more easier than the numbers, eh? Like they had numbers but no photos of the...
So you would have liked if they had some photos to the candidates. Okay. As Parliament meets, what would you want them to do?
Discuss more social issues and economical, like employment for young women.
And lastly, your top 3 national budget priorities.
Yeah, education, health and infrastructure of schools and the road.
Hi, my name is Jasmine and I'm here representing Oceania Pride.
Do you want to be a decision maker, and at what level or where?
Yes, currently I see myself standing up for the local government elections as soon as the local government structures are put in place. And coming to the next elections, I definitely would like to stand for the national elections.
How was your experience, your voting experience in 2014?
My experience was really good actually. I didn't go in the morning because I knew it would be really crowded. The good thing was that it was a public holiday. I went towards the afternoon. I didn't have to wait in a line or anything. I actually finished voting in like less than a minute maybe, and the general experience was quite good. It was quite overwhelming, firstly because it meant that I actively participated in the process of bringing our country back to democracy, so it was a very fulfilling experience for me.
What do you want your 2018 experience to be like?
My 2018 experience would be like definitely for more civic education. I would also like that if the electoral process needs to be changed, that there needs to be a collective voice, not someone just telling us what needs to be done and what will be done. It should be a more participatory process where the people of Fiji decide what kind of voting system they want, or what kind of boundaries they want. I definitely want to also see more civic education in the sense that the civic education is not done by just the elections committee, because I felt that the civic education done during the 2014 elections was quite biased towards one party. What I would like to see is a very unbiased civic education but done by CSOs. There's been years of example of the CSOs doing a really good job of civic education, so that's what I would like to see continue, especially given on why we as young people need to be more engaged in the national elections. Normally what young people have a notion to is that politics is not, it's a very dirty game, we shouldn't engage into it, or that politics doesn't concern us. It actually does at every part of our life, and there needs to be more awareness raising on youths about why this process is so important to them. And I actually recommend that civic education needs to start from class 1.
Since Parliament will be sitting, what do you want them to do?
My 3 priorities basically are to create more awareness on the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex and the queer community, because our 2013 constitution says that we should not be discriminated on the basis of our sexual orientation, gender identity and gender expressions. Secondly, I also want to see that the government starts implementing and change other policies and legislator to actually encompass this clause of non-discrimination, because just having the non-discrimination clause in the constitution doesn't make up for everything else. It needs to be translated into policy as well as grassroots levels. So I need really urgent action and measurable action in terms of that. And thirdly, I also need to see a change in the atmosphere of healthcare in terms of the LGBT people. There needs to be more awareness raising, there needs to be gender sensitization. As soon as I enter a hospital, they should not assume that I'm a heterosexual. There should be non-discriminatory, where if I say I'm a lesbian woman, I shouldn't get a face from the doctor. And also there needs to be more focus on generally the well-being of the LGBTIQ community, and that can only be done when there is zero tolerance on terms of discrimination in any aspects. So I actually think that the government should further engage into creating laws where people need to be penalized if they found guilty of discriminating people on the basis of their sexual orientation, gender identity and expressions.
What are your 3 national budget priorities?
Healthcare, education, and gender. And when I talk about gender, I don't talk about the binary of male and female. Please, gender really is, the definition of gender is to be encompassing of the different sexual orientations, gender identities, and gender expressions. Yes, in Fiji and in the Pacific, when we talk about gender, we just think about in terms of just balancing the scales between men and women. Please change that attitude. And when you talk about gender, please talk about the LGBT communities as well. And when you're making policies, budgets, any decision making, we should be a part of that decision. We should be a part of that process. We should be a part of that consultation. Nothing about us without us.
My name is May Mili. I'm a community development officer.
Do you want to be a decision maker?
Yeah,
Why? What do you want to do?
I want to be a decision maker, but at a local government, because the work that I do, I mainly deal with the council members. For the decision makers at the national level, usually the people at the local government, they influence the people at the national level. So the national level, the local government, they are very influential. So that's why I feel that young women should have a space at the local government.
So, how was your experience of the 2014 elections?
I don't know. I just felt like, for me, I just went and I voted, but that was it. I really didn't, because that was my first time to vote as well. So I just went, I ticked it, and I really didn't know how I felt.
So what do you want to see for 2018?
I want to see more young people in government, so that I would, because when I was voting last year, there was not a lot of young people. I think there was just, there was like 1 or 2, but not more than that. So, when 2018 comes, I want to be excited, because 2014, I wasn't excited. So, yeah, I want to be so excited. I want to be ready for that.
So, Parliament's going to be meeting next month. What do you want them to be doing or talking about?
I want them to be talking more about poverty alleviation, because I work with really, really poor people. So, if they could maybe talk about, increasing money on social welfare and stuff like that, maybe that would be really good.
What are your top 3 budget priorities? So when the government decides to put next year's budget together, where do you want the money to go to?
Education. But I don't know, for me it's education and mental health. It's not more of like NCD or anything, but for me it's mental health alone, education and disability.
Hi, I'm Sheena Lal. I'm part of ELF6.
Do you want to be a decision maker?
Honestly, not really.
Why not?
It doesn't interest me to boss people around. I don't know, it's just not my type.
Are you more in favor of the consultative process?
Never really thought about it, honestly.
How was your experience of the 2014 election?
Well, it was my first election, first time for me to vote. It was okay. I mean, I didn't have to wait in line. It was pretty straightforward for me. It was fine for me.
Is there anything you want to see done differently for the 2018 elections?
Probably less racism, I guess. There's been some party which is outwardly racist, but then most people don't want to bother about it. I don't like that kind.
Parliament's going to be meeting next month. What do you want them to be talking about?
I'd say fair play, but I don't think anyone actually plays fair anymore.
Fair play in what sense? Just the way that they debate?
The way that they debate, the way that they process things, almost everything to do with elections, I guess. It's not run properly.
What would be your top 3 priorities, or what top 3 areas would you want to make sure that there is money actually going to?
Well, there's education always, and health. In health, I'd like to go into developing good mental health facilities, because I've noticed they don't really utilize it all that much. I mean, they do have St. Giles and stress wards, but I think more can be done.
Do you have a third one?
Third one, where do we want? Yes, sports. Sports is good. I think they should be more involved with schools and stuff.